As many Texans enter their second or third day without power, with no definitive end in sight, some are questioning how such a widespread meltdown is even possible. The answer lies with Texas's energy grid.
So Texas opted long ago to be the only state that maintains its own independent grid from the rest of the country and Canada. This is to avoid federal regulations, but federal regulations also force most electric producers in this country to be further winterized for situations like this.
That means power plants in Texas haven't necessarily taken the steps that others in, say, Minnesota or Maine or even Arizona take to ensure they can keep operating in frigid temperatures. And while other states with interconnected grids can essentially borrow power from each other when demand spikes, Texas's go-it-alone approach left it without anywhere to borrow from. Now, this unusually large storm is exposing the vulnerabilities of that underregulated system as it struggles to cope with wind and ice. Around half the state's power comes from liquid natural gas.
So some of the natural gas producers in the state have had serious interruptions because of the storm, especially in the Permian Basin and Panhandle. Freezing conditions have slowed production. Wind has caused disruptions. Some have closed because of concerns for employee safety.
At the same time, wind turbines across the state are freezing for lack of winterization, and some solar panels are rendered useless by overcast conditions. All of these flaws combining to create major shortages. But the focus of some on renewables like wind and solar.
Joe Biden and Democrats better think twice about unleashing the Green New Deal on the whole country. Just take a look at what's happening in Texas.
Doesn't tell nearly the whole story. Only about a quarter of the electricity in Texas comes from wind and solar. And of all the power that went offline, about a third of it was from failures in the wind supply. That's according to ERCOT. They're responsible for managing Texas's energy grid.
ERCOT is the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. It's basically the air traffic controller for power in the state.
They manage about 90% of the state's energy, but they've had to order rolling outages to conserve the limited power for essentials like hospitals. We talked to ERCOT's CEO about why that's necessary.
We saw a challenge in managing supply and demand, and we thought we might have to use rotating outages to manage that. And so we call on the utilities in different parts of Texas we'll say we need the demand reduced by, for example, 1,000 megawatts. And they will turn off circuits, turn off power for the period of time that we need to maintain that safe power balance.
The impact on Texans has been devastating. In addition to the deaths, people across the state are experiencing freezing in their own home, food shortages, and long lines at grocery stores, and burst pipes causing flooding. Experts warn that weather events like these could happen more often in a world stricken by climate change.
We can treat this almost as an opportunity here, that we are planning on making very large changes to our power system. The Biden administration has an aggressive plan for decarbonizing our power system. We know that if we want to achieve a just and equitable world without climate change or with very low climate change, we need to make drastic changes. And so these changes are going to be happening at the same time as we are experiencing climate change. And so when we're making these changes, very large changes in our power system, we need to be thinking about how they're going to fare in the face of climate change.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.